We are here today at an important historical site of recent history. We are located about 6 miles west of Glenwood Springs on I-70 at Storm King Mountain. In 1994 was a really bad fire season. And here at Storm King Mountain, during one of those fires, 12 people lost their lives. It was a true tragedy of the time. However, it brought important changes to how we fight wildfires today in the United States. For starters, there's a much better system of communication between individuals of both equal ranking and leaders. In addition, the firefighters are now placed a lot more carefully than they used to. They take in much more in wind conditions and not to ever be anywhere close to being above a fire line or downwind of a fire. So let me walk you through the site, and then also I'll give you kind of how this tragedy happened. So first, let me point out where Storm King is. Storm King is actually this mountain, but you really can't see it because this is only part of it. To really kind of get an idea of scope and height, if you look straight ahead, you'll see an area which doesn't have any trees on it. The fire pretty much ran from the base of the canyon to the top of the ridge. And what happened was, the firefighters were about halfway up the ridge. And you can see that it's like a 35, 40 degree slope. They were about the middle range, but the fire got below them and spread towards them, and then the wind kicked up, and the way the fire works, it likes to burn upwards. It burned straight up the ridge, and it literally went the mile from the bottom to the top in about 2 minutes. There were actually 50 firefighters involved in this operation. 36 of them survived, but 12 didn't. It was one of the worst wildfire tragedies of firefighters for the last 40 years. And it really came as a shock to the community and to the nation as a whole. So come follow me down the trail. Here are the first 6. As you can see, they weren't all men. There were 4 women that lost their lives of the 12. So yeah, women firefighters are a significant portion of the firefighting community. And here are the other 6 equally important people who lost their lives. And if you'll, we're going to zoom in here. All right, so this was the initial fire here, right about here, about 14 acres. All right, so the firefighters hiked up and were fighting around the fire on all sides, building a fire line. The fire jumped their original line. That should have been their warning that they needed to get out of there. They didn't. They stayed. It was just that way. That was the culture back then. Again, part of the problems with, being clear about danger and then being clear about communicating that danger. This is what happened in half an hour. See this little one? And then it blew up straight up the ridge. So little teeny fire to that. That's a half hour. But the real damage and when the fatalities happened within 2 minutes. That's not long at all. Very, very short. So let me zoom in on this map here. So here's the interstate. Here's where we are right now, okay? So about 500 feet above us in elevation was the spot fire, okay? And it was just this little thing here, which is down here, okay? Now, because of the wind, it blew embers this way. So they had a fire line. They were building a fire line here. The spot fire, because of the wind, strong wind, blew embers over their fire line. And again, this is when they should have realized that they were in big trouble. And I'm not blaming them. It was the culture of the time. And then what happened was the wind shifted. And it went from a mild wind east here to a major wind, which is the dominant direction of the wind. And the firefighters were here. It blew the embers over. And then the wind changed direction. And if you're ever kind of blown on a campfire to kind of get the flames going, that's what happened here. But in an incredibly large way. You went from maybe 10 to 15 mile an hour winds to 50 mile an hour winds. And then that blew this way. And then they realized they were in trouble. So they made the mistake. One of the mistakes was they ran because they got cut off by the fire. The 12 that died, they had no choice. They had to go uphill. You want to go downhill in a fire. So the fire, and then after that, what happened is it blew up, and 2 minutes, it raced up this way. And then that's when the firefighters were killed. And then, like I said, most of the fires that had lived were just really lucky to be able to outrace the fire and run over the top of the ridge. Once they got over the ridge, they were safe. But sadly, 12 people died. And hindsight says that, these people should have not died if they had followed procedures that are in place today. Or they must have had a lot better chance. But hindsight is 2020. This was 1994. This was the conditions they had. It was sad, but it wasn't the fault of the firefighters. It was just, more of a failure of having good system and good communication. We'll always say a prayer and say, thank you for all the firefighters and the public officers that always put their lives in danger so the rest of us can stay safe. Thank you for watching.